In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your front calipers on your Ford Taurus. It's located behind your front wheels. Using a 19mm socket, I'll take off our lug nuts. Make sure you keep a hand on it for that last one. So anytime you're doing any sort of hydraulics on a vehicle, it's a good idea to press the brake pedal in with a pry bar. You can use the seat to hold it there. It'll just prevent all the brake fluid from coming out of the master cylinder and make your life a lot easier. So now that our brake pedal is pressed, we're gonna take our hose off. I'm using a 10mm socket. I have a drip pan below it. You can use this bolt to plug the caliper once you get your washers off. In order to get the bolt out, you might have to grab the washer with some locking pliers and unscrew the washer off. The new caliper comes with these, so you don't have to worry about ruining them. And I usually just put this right back in the caliper so that it doesn't leak all over the place when you take it off. You're going to use a 15mm socket to get the bolts, the caliper bracket bolts out. So not these, but the other ones. This whole thing will come off on its own. I'll take my bottom one out first, but I'm going to hold it there with a couple of threads so the whole thing doesn't go flying. And then you can do your top one. Put your bolt to the side. You can use a socket to loosen it up completely and take it out. All right, so we're going to place our caliper with bracket on the vehicle. I'm going to put the bolts in, and then we're going to take our caliper off, check our slides, put the pads in, and reinstall the caliper part. I'm going to snug up our bolts after I started them by hand with a 15mm socket. We're going to torque those to 76 foot-pounds. All right, we're going to torque this to 76 foot-pounds. All right, using a 12mm socket, we're gonna undo our slide bolts. Take that down. And we're going to investigate our boots, make sure there's enough grease or silicone paste in there. So we're going to take off our boots, take out the slide. I'm going to add a little more. So I'm going to take my boot off. I'm going to put some grease in there. I'm going to squeeze it, make sure it gets in those ribs. And then I'm going to add a little bit more to the slide. I'm going to use my slide and just go put some more in there. And then I'm going to put my boot back on. Put the slide back in, checking for air. We're looking for vacuum. That means you want this to pull in on itself, like that. So that's good. And now we're going to do the bottom. Same thing. Take it out. And take that boot off. I'm going to apply more grease into my boot. Squeeze it off. Add the rest to this slide. All right, put the boot back on. And put that back in. Squeeze out the air if there is any. Do the vacuum test. Looking good. And now I'm going to wipe off the excess. Okay, so now we're ready to put our pads in. Make sure our little butterfly spring clips are centered. All right, it's recommended that you change your pads while you're doing a caliper. The pads come with a spring clip in there, or a slider. It goes like this. You want these things to be riding on these two surfaces. If you have one poking out, then you got to redo it. So I'm going to hold this. I'm going to hold this clip in place. Line up. Line up the bottom. If you see that your butterfly is sticking out here, you're not lined up right. So try that again. Okay, if you notice that there is nothing sticking out, then you're doing good. Now you can put your top bolt in. Line up your other bolt. Snug these up. And now we can torque those to 26 foot-pounds. All right, so we're going to use our 12mm socket and torque these to 26 foot-pounds. All right, so we're going to attach our brake hose now. The new caliper comes with a new bolt and washers. So you're going to put your one washer up against the bolt, and you're going to make a brake hose sandwich. Make sure there's no washer still attached on either side. And put this washer here. And now we're ready to put it into our caliper. Of course, start it by hand so you don't do any cross-threading. All right, using a 10mm socket, you're gonna tighten up the brake hose, and you're gonna give it a little bit of squashing. You don't want to over tighten it, so just make sure it's snug, and then go a little bit more. Sandwich that brake hose in with those washers. You're going to take the pry bar or whatever you use to hold down your brake pedal out. All right, so when checking your master cylinder for the right amount of fluid. I'm going to wipe the cap off. You're going to take your cap off and you're going to look at it and see what it takes for brake fluid. If it's not on the cap, it's usually in the manual. All right, so this needs a little bit of fluid. I'm just going to put a rag here in case I dribble. You can also use a funnel. So you're going to fill it up to the max line. Replace your cap. And then you're going to take your rubber boot off your bleeder screw. Open your bleeder screw. Make sure you have a drip pan below you. And wait for the fluid to come out and any air bubbles. All right, looks like we have a pretty steady stream. I don't see any air bubbles. So I'm going to close that off and tighten it up. All right. Now that you've gravity bled the system, you can put your cap back on. Check your brake pedal. Make sure it's, pump it up a few times and make sure it's right at the top, nice and hard. If it is, you're good to go. You can throw your wheel on, take it for a road test. If it's not, you're going to have to go through the entire brake bleed procedure because it means there's air in the system somewhere. Make sure you put them on hand tight first. And you're gonna tighten them in a star-like pattern using a 19mm socket. I usually do the bottom one first and walk the wheel on. Snug them up, and then we're going to be torquing them. Using a 19mm socket, we're going to torque our wheels to 95 foot-pounds. We're going to do it in a star-like pattern. I'm going to check it one more time, go all the way around. So you're going to want to clean and inspect the area. You're going to take your cap off. Okay, so now you want to drain all the fluid out because you want clean fluid when you do the brake bleed. Make sure you have a drip pan ready and some absorbent squares underneath and next to wherever the fluid will be going, in case you drip anywhere. Now you're going to take a siphon of some sort and you are going to start taking the master cylinder fluid out. So you're going to fill it up to the max line. Replace your cap. The bleeding sequence for this Ford Taurus is right rear, right front, left front. Make sure you take your cap off your bleeder and apply your something to catch the brake fluid as your person in the car holds the brake pedal down. All right, pump it up. You're gonna need a 10mm line wrench for the bleeders in the rear. To the floor. So we're going to close the bleeder off, pump it up. Holding. To the floor. So when it's to the floor, you're going to tighten it. And do one more. Pump it up. And he's holding, so I'm going to loosen it. Make sure you close your bleeder screw. All right, make sure you clean the area with some brake pads cleaner. Put your rubber cap back on and proceed to the left rear. All right, after you do the first two wheels, you're going to take your cap off your master cylinder and you're going to top off your fluid. Make sure you have it up to the max. Place your cap. And now you can continue with the bleed procedure. All right, so take off your rubber cap. All right, you're going to be using an 11mm line wrench to loosen your bleeder screw on the calipers. You're going to ask your friend in the car to pump it up. Pump it up. Loosen your bleeder. Tighten your bleeder. Bump it up. Loosen your bleeder. Tighten your bleeder. I still see air bubbles, so pump it up. Loosen it up and tighten it up. Pump it up. Loosen your bleeder. Tighten it up. And put your cap back on. And clean off the area. Now you can move to the other side. All right, so now we're going to do our final top off. And take our cap off. This guy, you're going to need some sort of a funnel. And we're going to fill it up to max. Put your cap back on. Now that you've topped off your brake fluid, you're going to put your wheels back on and torque them to 95 foot-pounds. Test your brake pedal out. If it feels good, take it for a road test. If it doesn't feel good, you're going to want to do the brake bleed all over again. Then take it for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.